lifts me up so I can feel something. So I can feel something. Give me a touch, 'cause I've been missing it. I'm dreaming of.
Until you're in it, you really don't understand.
You know, this country is hurting. These people are hurting.
I've spent many nights sleepless, wondering how I'm going to feed my kids.
Common concerns in a country with a lingering recession. The U.S. Census says 46 million live in poverty. It's the highest in decades. And for a family of four, poverty is defined as living with an income of $22,000 or less. Nearly 50 million have no health insurance, and basic needs are becoming unaffordable for many. People with advanced degrees, like Anthony Tobacco, a teacher in Broward County, Florida, who has gone through 2 county-wide layoffs and is now teaching part-time piano lessons just to scrape by.
I'm stressed out, constantly worried about what I'm going to do to make ends meet.
Good luck today. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thousands are lining up for job fairs, just looking for a chance.
I was laid off back in December. I was working in healthcare.
It's the #1 priority in our country right now to put people back to work and get people jobs and make sure that people in areas of public service are listening.
In neighborhoods across the U.S., the face of poverty has changed. 15% of Americans live impoverished. That's the highest of any industrialized nation in the world. Many folks are just one paycheck away from being part of the poverty issue. The past 4 years has not been easy, and millions of Americans have taken it hard.
Like single mother Monique Brown, the Alabama resident has recently lived in shelters with her children and is looking for a job.
I mean, pretty much anything that'll bring in some type of income.
In New York City's largest food pantry, they served nearly 100,000 meals in August alone. That's a nearly 50% increase from last year.
The money situation is really, really bad, and thanks to these people, you know, it helps.
Some people here taking their groceries away in suitcases just to ensure that they pack enough to feed their family. Outside Chicago, the Willow Creek Care Center is also seeing people line up in record numbers.
We have seen the face of poverty really change. It's no longer people who have been in a cyclical, cycle of poverty, but it's families who have been unemployed, who have kids.
I can't even tell you how these places are for people. I've never been unemployed. I've never gone through this, ever. And now that I've gone through it, I would never wish it on my worst enemy.
70 miles south of Chicago, garbage burns in lawns, and the smoky shells of charred homes line the gravel roads. This town of 3,000 people has a 50% unemployment rate, no police force, no schools, and no public service.
It's staggering, especially to know that this is like a third world country 1 hour away from Chicago.
Just a few faces of the poor in America. In a time when jobs are scarce, solutions seem out of sight, and the emotional toll on families is perhaps the most devastating of all.
So to me, poverty means not having enough resources to meet your needs. Money, clothes, objects, whatever. As an upcoming graduate, poverty concerns me because I don't want to be labeled as poor. I don't want to have to worry about poverty because I can't find a job. I don't have to worry about, or I don't want to have to worry about my student loans becoming overwhelming and forcing me into poverty. Also, just keeping up with the news and all, I don't want to have to worry about all all of these new things, like passing our new healthcare bill and all that stuff, you know, as taxpayer, as, you know, a payer of my own health insurance, I don't have to worry about all of this accumulating and leading to me living in poverty.
Poverty means to me not having a lot of money, living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of this I feel like goes on in the inner city. I feel like I should take poverty into consideration just because eventually I'm going to be paying my own bills, paying back school loans, paying car insurance. It all adds up, and hopefully I'm not in poverty. I'm a little worried just because, you know, the economy's down and I have a lot of bills to pay and got in the future kids to feed and family to provide for.
As upcoming graduates, we should be concerned with poverty because we'll have opportunities in the workforce that people living in poverty won't.
Okay. I think that we should be concerned about poverty because the more people that are living in poverty, the more drag that it places on the economy, and it can pull everything down and increase taxes.
What does poverty mean to you?
Poverty, that's a good question because it's not really, I see it as an aspect of being poor, but I see it as more than being poor. To me, poverty means a lack of opportunity, which makes you poor. Because you think, you know, a poverty-stricken area or poverty-stricken third world country, those people may have skills and may have desires to work, but there just are no opportunities to put those skills and qualities that they have to use to make a living or to make money from that. Or, you know, maybe they are putting those skills and opportunity and taking advantage of opportunities, but there's just nothing to spend the money, the little bit amount of money on. So that's really what poverty means to me, just more so than being poor, it's also a lack of opportunity. Well, I think there's a lot of reason to care because, you know, you always hear, at least I always hear the stories of, like, you know, all these college graduates that they can't find a job and that don't have the opportunity. You know, maybe you are working and you don't make as much money as you like and you consider yourself poor, but if you don't even have the opportunity to work, then I think that's where the poverty instance comes into play.
Poverty means like not having a roof over your head, not having money to feed your family, being on food stamps, because it's an economical problem that keeps rising in the economy. More people are coming into the poverty side, and as a young graduate, it's hard to find a job and come out with a decent salary and pay back your student loans. When I graduate, I'm going to sign the Air Force, and especially with the government halt, it kind of scares me a little bit.
Poverty to me is when you don't have anything and you are without any supplies, any outlets, any help, and you're down to like your very, very last without any options of how you're going to get home. Poverty means, well, I guess poverty means that now that I am fortunate enough to have a degree and have an option to better myself, that I can help those in need and try and improve America as far as poverty goes. I don't know what it's like to have to pay all my bills by myself and not have any help and to be an adult, because I'm fortunate enough to have a dad who's helped me throughout my entire life and supported me. So growing up as an adult and entering the real world where I'm deemed an adult and have to take on the responsibilities myself is scary. And then also with Obamacare coming out, I'm really nervous.
To me, poverty is not having any money, not having a roof over your head, not having those basic needs. As an upcoming graduate, poverty is important because if I don't have a job, if I don't have and be able to provide for myself, I won't have those basic needs, and I'll find myself in poverty.
Poverty to me is not only a physical state, but a mental state. So people in poverty have trouble with financial stability, and also have the state of mind where they think they're not able to succeed like other people with financial benefits. Up-and-coming graduates should be concerned about the mental state of poverty and thinking, trying to be innovative, and they have to realize that they have to get through the hardships that this economy has coming at us.
Now that you've heard what our classmates think the definition of poverty is, let's look up the actual definition and see why we should be concerned as upcoming graduates. Poverty is the state for the majority of the world's people and nations. Why is this? Is it enough to blame people for their own predicament? Have they been lazy, made poor decisions, and been solely responsible for their actions? Such causes of poverty and inequality are real, but deeper and more global causes of poverty are often less discussed. So let's talk about it. After graduation, are you going to let yourself become part of the statistic? What are you going to do to keep yourself from being classified as impoverished?
The number of Americans living in poverty stands at 46 million people, or 15.1% of the American population. Americans in deep poverty can be defined as having an income less than half of the poverty line, and there is currently 20.5 million people, or 6.7% of the American population, living in deep poverty. 16.4 million children are living in poverty, which equates to 22% of all of the children in America. 25% of all the jobs in America pay less than the poverty line of $22,000 for a family of 4. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 1 out of every 6 Americans is now living in poverty. That is the highest number we have seen since the 1960s. For the first time ever, more than 1 million public school students in the United States of America are homeless. One study estimates that child poverty costs the United States of America economy $500 billion each year.
China is the fourth largest country in the world and home to more than 1.3 billion people. China is the first developing country to achieve the United Nations Millennial Development Goal of reducing half the number of its people living in extreme poverty. But despite their remarkable progress in social development and poverty reduction, China still faces many challenges. Between 50 and 55% of the population resides in rural areas, where about 2/3 of that population lives in poverty. From 2001 to 2011, the Chinese economy grew at an average annual rate of 11.6%, whereas the U.S. economy only grew at 1.8%. Does this mean that the Chinese system is better at developing growth? No. The primary reason for the difference is because China is still so poor. As a result, China is enjoying a period of accelerated growth as it tries to catch up with the rest of the world.
Some might think that Germany has a very high economy, and in some parts it indeed does, but according to the Time magazine, there are a very high distribution rate of wealth and income in different areas of Germany. It shows that in Eastern Germany, for example, the average poverty rate is around 20%, up 27% of people in one specific area. Anyone who is living off of less than 60% of the median household income is defined by the EU and the German government as living in poverty. In Germany, that's around $1,066 per month for only a single person, or $2,240 for a couple with one child. Some of the hardest hit by the Germany increasing poverty levels are the children. Around 3 million children in Germany live in poverty. In Berlin alone, up to 36% of the children are poor.
across the country will walk proudly this weekend and collect their diplomas. Many of them will then pack their college apartments up and move back in with mom and dad. KXLY4's McKay Allen is live at Gonzaga tonight. And McKay, a staggering number of college grads are heading home instead of into the workforce.
Right. A new study shows 8 out of 10 college grads will go back home and live with mom and dad. They simply either can't find a job or the job they do find doesn't cover their expenses.
I'm pretty excited. It's been a long time coming.
Graduation day, the culmination of much hard work, the beginning of a successful career, a life spent reaping the benefits of attending college. Or not.
It's very discouraging.
Everybody's just trying to find a job so we can pay off those student loans. And
there's more people without jobs than with.
A new study out this week says that most college graduates simply can't find a job. And 8 out of 10 of them, that's 80%, are moving home after graduation.
Definitely have several friends who do have to move in with their parents because of financial reasonings.
Matt McCloskey's graduating from Whitworth on Sunday, a degree in political science under his belt. He's moving home, and he'll work construction.
It's a little discouraging to kind of know that you've worked hard for 4 years and to not have these great job opportunities that you've been told you're going to have. That's a little hard.
No, it's surprising when I hear of someone who has a job.
Stephanie Hendricks will graduate Sunday as well with a degree in sociology. She finished classes in January, but without a job, Stephanie temporarily moved back in with her parents.
Because there's not much out there, and whatever is out there, I don't feel qualified for.
Stephanie now has a job lined up here in Spokane, but she says most of her graduating friends are heading home to live with mom and dad.
Most are moving home for at least a while just to get on their feet and try and find something.
Now, trying to find something, that's the key here. A lot of college students, according to this survey and this study, just aren't willing to do something that wasn't exactly their degree of study or something that they want to do as a career, even if it's just a part-time job or something to get them through until they find something more permanent. That's one of the reasons that a lot of them are having to move back home. Reporting live at Gonzaga, McKay Allen, KXLY4 HD News.
So why should you care about poverty? Because about 80% of the world's humanity lives on less than $10 a day. According to UNICEF, 22,000 children die each day due to poverty. There are nearly 2.2 billion children in the world, and 1 billion children live in poverty. Those numbers equate to 1 in every 2 children.
When I think about why poverty should be important to me as an upcoming graduate, the only thing that I can really think of or that stands out in my mind is the fact that people who live off poverty only have $1.25 a day. And on campus, I spend about $4 to $5 each day on just a single cup of coffee. So I can't even fathom only having $1.25 to spend at all in a day's time. When I try to think about something that I could eat for $1.25, the only thing that I can think of that even comes to my mind is a pack of gum. And that's not very nutritious. So I guess as an upcoming graduate, I would hope that with the degree that I'm seeking, I could find a job that is a good paying job to support not only me, but also my family. Because in some of the studies that I've read, when unemployment rates increase, the amount of homeless people also increase and typically live in poverty. No food, no money, no home, no nothing. So I guess the take-home message for me is that I need to find a job and I need to be as prepared as I can be to deal with the real world and its cruelties.
Poverty to me means not having enough money or resources for food, shelter, and education, and even sometimes even clothing. Poverty also means to me that someone like being poor knows exactly how much everything costs. Being poor is having to keep buying a $700 to $800 car because that's what you can afford, and then having like the car break down on you every week. Being poor is living next to the freeway and there is someone there begging for food. I live near New York City, and when you go travel over the George Washington Bridge, and there are people out there who literally live underneath a highway bridge. It kills me to think how badly this world really is. Being poor is looking at life in such a different way that most people can't really imagine it, how crazy it really can be. Being poor is knowing that no matter how hard and how much you work, you can't cover it all. I am very concerned as an upcoming graduate that I won't be able to make ends meet. Finding a job is going to be a challenge for me, as it is for all of the upcoming graduates. Poverty is always one paycheck away, and as an upcoming graduate, that is just something I just don't want to think about at all.
So why should I care about poverty? When I look around my hometown, I see too many less fortunate people. Some sleeping on the streets at 2 in the morning, most begging for money at the corners of intersections. I don't want to wind up like them. Being aware of poverty makes me want to work harder to succeed in life. Graduating this spring means I'll be starting a new chapter in my life. It's exciting and scary at the same time. I care about poverty because poverty is a very real situation for most recent graduates. When I first thought about poverty, I thought about kids with no food, water, and shelter. The most eye-opening thing for me was that anyone who is making a substantially low salary could be considered impoverished. So with these interviews and this video, we not only want to spread awareness, but get you to ask yourself, why should you care about poverty as an upcoming graduate?
I care about poverty for many reasons, and a large part of that is to prevent it and become aware of it as a society. Poverty is a sad condition of this world that brings down mankind. To think about the people that have slipped into poverty and what they could have become and how they could have contributed to our society is a terrible thing. In my opinion, poverty adds to the illnesses to our society from a global standpoint, due to these people being unable to provide themselves and their families necessary nutrition, treatment, and care. Poverty also dilutes our economy due to the costs that poverty imposes from productivity losses. These are just a few small reasons that we as young individuals need to be aware of poverty as we enter the real world.
As upcoming graduates, we should be concerned with poverty for many reasons. We all are going to have to pay our own bills soon. We're going to be off our meal plans or Eagle dollars, and our finances will increase substantially. A lot more responsibility automatically comes with graduation. Working to support ourselves, our future families, and trying to enjoy what we do is going to be a challenge, but it is possible. If we don't find a good job to support ourselves, we could very easily put ourselves in a paycheck-to-paycheck situation. Of course, most of us will not have our dream job right out of college, or even the next few years out of college. But the next job could be a gateway or a step in the right direction. The next chapter of our lives is just a stepping stone towards our future careers and finances, but it is definitely an important one.
afraid of poverty. I'm not afraid of poverty.
I'm not afraid of poverty.
I'm not afraid of poverty.
I'm not afraid of poverty.
I'm not afraid of poverty.
I am not afraid of poverty.
I will always have a roof over my head.
I'm not afraid of being poor.
I'm not afraid of being poor.
I'm not afraid of poverty.